As 1969 drew to a close, the bright lights, roaring crowds, and soaring guitar riffs that had defined the Beatles' reign still filled the air, but cracks were already forming beneath the surface. By the early 1970s, the band that had reshaped music forever was gone. Millions of fans felt the loss, but perhaps no one more deeply than the four men who had lived it from the inside: Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison. For McCartney, the breakup led him into the haze of alcohol until his wife, Linda, pulled him out. Lennon dove headfirst into bold, sometimes chaotic artistic experiments. Starr found his own quieter path, and Harrison, the so-called quiet Beatle, took an unexpected turn. He sought refuge in laughter. Not just any laughter, but the surreal, sharp-edged humor of Monty Python, a British comedy troupe whose absurd sketches and fearless satire were shaking up television. In the shadow of a fading summer of love and a world sliding into political unrest, Harrison discovered that Python's brand of comedy offered him something the post-Beatles years often lacked: a reason to smile. Harrison would later reflect that Monty Python's approach to comedy reminded him of the Beatles' early spirit: fresh, irreverent, and unafraid to challenge convention. At a time when music felt stale and life after the band seemed strangely quiet, Python gave him space to breathe. Terry Gilliam, one of Monty Python's members, recalled that when the Beatles ended, it felt as if their creative energy had drifted straight into Python. Harrison, for his part, relished their skewering of the British elite, religious figures, and anyone who took themselves too seriously. In his eyes, nothing was too sacred to be laughed at, and that was liberating. This connection went beyond that of a fan admiring a troupe. Harrison became a supporter, even stepping in to finance one of Python's films when no studio would take the risk. For him, it wasn't an escape into frivolity, but a new chapter in his creative life, a way to reclaim joy after the disorientation of losing the identity he had built with the Beatles. George Harrison understood that life at the top didn't shield you from the fall. But he also knew a secret: sometimes laughter is the bridge that keeps you from crashing into the abyss. From stadiums packed with screaming fans to stages filled with absurdist comedy, he proved that humor could heal wounds even music couldn't always reach. Was his partnership with Monty Python merely a way to cope with the grief of losing the Beatles, or was it a bold step that expanded his legacy beyond music? If you had been in Harrison's place, would you have sought refuge in humor? And how much do you think Monty Python truly shaped the way the world saw him after the Beatles were gone?